There is a quiet revolution happening all around us. A revolution not of noise and chaos, but of patience and persistence. While the world glorifies sudden success, instant fame, and viral moments, the truth is far simpler and far more powerful. The people who truly transform their lives don't rely on luck or miracles. They rely on one thing: small, consistent wins. This book isn't about grand gestures or overnight achievements. It's about the ordinary, invisible moments that slowly build an extraordinary life. Because success isn't one giant leap, it's thousands of tiny steps in the same direction. So wherever you are, walking, studying, resting, or simply breathing, let these words remind you of your strength. You don't have to be perfect to move forward. You just have to begin. Welcome, my friend, to the hidden power of small wins. Let's begin your quiet revolution, one small step at a time. Chapter 1: The Spark of Change. Every great transformation begins not with a shout, but with a whisper. A small decision, almost invisible, that alters the course of a life. Think about it. No mountain is climbed in one leap. The climber simply chooses, today, to take the first step upward. That is how all greatness begins, with a single small win. When we imagine success, we picture a dramatic breakthrough, the moment of victory, applause, and recognition. But behind that moment hides a long trail of quiet, consistent, ordinary days, filled with small choices that nobody sees. Each time you choose discipline over delay, learning over comfort, patience over frustration, you score a tiny victory. Those tiny victories are the bricks from which empires are built. So today, remember this: you do not need a revolution to change your life. You only need a beginning, a spark, one small win that lights the way forward. Seedling Chapter 2: What exactly is a small win? A small win is any action that moves you a little closer to who you want to become. It could be reading a page when you don't feel like studying. It could be saying thank you instead of complaining. It could be showing up 5 minutes earlier, or drinking water instead of soda. Tiny, simple, unremarkable actions, yet together, they shift your direction. Because every time you complete one, your mind whispers, "I can do this." And when you hear that voice often enough, it becomes a belief. Beliefs become identity. And identity shapes destiny. Small wins are not about perfection, they are about progress. Each one builds confidence, clarity, and momentum. They remind you that control over your life is not in massive moments, it is in the micro decisions you make each day. Gear Chapter 3: The Science Behind Small Wins. Why do small wins feel so good? Because your brain is wired to love them. Each time you finish a meaningful task, no matter how small, your brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical. That gentle rush of satisfaction tells you, this was worth doing. The more you experience that feeling, the more your brain seeks it again. This creates what psychologists call a positive feedback loop. Small wins, dopamine, motivation, more small wins. Over time, your brain becomes addicted to progress instead of procrastination. You no longer chase distractions to feel good, you chase growth. And here lies the secret. Real motivation doesn't start from outside, it's generated internally, through a pattern of repeated wins. Every small success strengthens the neural pathway of confidence. That's how ordinary people build extraordinary consistency. Hourglass Not Done Chapter 4: The Compounding Effect of Tiny Steps. The power of small wins lies not in their size, but in their accumulation. Imagine improving yourself by just 1% every single day. After 1 year, you wouldn't be 365% better. You'd be 37 times better. That's the power of compounding. Success works exactly like interest in a bank. You deposit tiny amounts of effort daily, and with time, they grow into something astonishing. Reading 1 page a day becomes 50 books in a few years. Saving $1 a day becomes financial freedom. Practicing gratitude each morning becomes lifelong peace. Small, steady steps create unstoppable momentum. Because while others wait for the perfect moment to start big, you are quietly building strength through small beginnings. Every masterpiece was once just a single brush stroke on an empty canvas. Light Bulb Chapter 5. Building Your Chain of Wins. How do you turn one small win into a lifetime habit? By linking them together, like a golden chain. Step 1. Start smaller than you think. If you plan to write for an hour, start with 10 minutes. If you plan to meditate for 15, start with 2. Make it so easy that you can't say no. Step 2. Track it. Mark a calendar, use an app, or keep a notebook. Each day you complete your task, draw a circle. That circle is a symbol of victory. Soon you'll see a chain forming, and your only job becomes, don't break the chain. Step 3. Celebrate. Smile. Say, yes, I did it. That tiny celebration tells your brain, I'm proud of myself. And that feeling of pride powers tomorrow's effort. Consistency is not built on motivation, it's built on evidence. Every check mark you add is proof that you can trust yourself. Chapter 6. The Enemy Called Self-Doubt. There is a voice inside every one of us, whispering, you're not enough. It arrives quietly, just before you start something new, and it says, what if you fail? Self-doubt is not the enemy of progress, it is the test before transformation. Every time you try to grow, that inner voice appears. But here's the truth, it's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to protect you from pain, rejection, or embarrassment. You don't need to silence that voice. You just need to answer it with action. When you act despite fear, the voice weakens. When you win, even a small win, the voice begins to respect you. Self-doubt will always be there. But with every small victory, you learn to live louder than your fear. Don't wait to feel ready. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Compass Chapter 7. The Power of One More Step. There are days when everything feels heavy. When even getting out of bed feels like a battle. On those days, remember this. You don't have to win the whole war. Just take one more step. When you say, I'll just do 5 minutes, you're not giving up. You're keeping your promise to yourself. Progress doesn't demand perfection. It only demands persistence. There's magic in just one more. One more rep. One more page. One more deep breath. That's how mountains are climbed. Not in leaps, but in steady steps of courage. So whenever your mind whispers, stop, tell yourself softly, just one more step, and I'll rest. And you'll find, one more step was all you ever needed. Broken Heart Chapter 8. When you fail, begin again. Failure is not the end of the story. It's a comma, not a full stop. Every great achiever has walked through failure's door. They felt the sting of defeat, the shame of trying and falling short. But here's what they understood. Failure is not evidence that you're weak. It's proof that you tried. The moment you start again, even after falling apart, you prove to the universe that your strength is greater than your pain. Small wins don't erase failure, they transform it. They turn regret into learning, and mistakes into momentum. So if you failed before, good. You've met your teacher. Now begin again. Wiser, gentler, stronger. Every sunrise is a second chance. Fire Chapter 9. The Ripple Effect. Every small win you create doesn't just change you. It changes the world around you. When you choose kindness, someone else feels seen. When you stay calm, you pass peace to the people near you. When you work on your dream quietly, you give permission for others to dream too. You never know who's watching you rise. Maybe your consistency becomes someone's inspiration. Maybe your small victories become another person's hope. We often underestimate the power of influence. How one disciplined person can spark an entire wave of progress. Your small light can guide someone out of their darkness. So shine anyway. Not for attention, but for the quiet revolution your example begins. Dove Chapter 10. The moment you realize you've changed. One day, you'll wake up and notice something beautiful. You'll realize you didn't hit snooze today. You didn't give up when things got tough. You didn't need motivation. You acted naturally. And that's when you'll know you've changed. You won't even notice the moment it happened. Because real growth is silent. It happens slowly, under the surface, through all the tiny wins you collected. The habits that once felt forced now flow easily. The goals that once scared you now feel possible. That's the quiet magic of small wins. They transform you without warning. Until one day you look back and whisper, "I did it." You didn't need a miracle. You just needed patience. Chapter 11. Reprogramming your mind. The mind is a garden. What you plant inside it, thoughts, beliefs, stories, becomes your reality. For years, we've told ourselves the same lines. I can't do this. I'm not consistent. I always fail. But Janie, here's the truth. Your brain listens. It believes every word you repeat. If you feed it weakness, it grows weeds. If you feed it strength, it grows courage. Reprogramming your mind begins with small mental wins. Catching negative thoughts and replacing them gently. Instead of "I can't," whisper "I'm learning." Instead of "I'm failing," say "I'm growing." Each shift is microscopic, but powerful. Every positive word you speak becomes a seed. And one day, you'll wake up surrounded by the garden of your own belief. Cherry blossom. Change your words, and your world will follow. Son Chapter 12. Turning discipline into joy. We often see discipline as punishment, a cage that limits freedom. But true discipline is not restriction. It is liberation. When you build habits, you stop living by mood and start living by purpose. You stop being controlled by laziness, distraction, and regret. You become free. The trick is to connect discipline with emotion. Don't just force yourself. Feel yourself grow. Each time you follow through, tell yourself, "This is who I am becoming. This action is a love letter to my future self." Discipline becomes joy when you realize it's not a burden. It's a bridge between who you are and who you wish to be. Every repetition is not just effort, it's evidence of transformation. Waterwave Chapter 13. Mastering the flow of momentum. Momentum is like a river. Once it starts flowing, it carries you forward effortlessly. The hardest part of any goal is the beginning, pushing the rock uphill. But once you've built the rhythm, progress starts to feel natural. How do you create momentum? By reducing resistance. Don't chase motivation. Design your environment for success. Keep your journal open. Lay out your clothes before the workout. Keep your water bottle where you can see it. Let your environment whisper, "Keep going." Momentum is not luck. It's structure, rhythm, and clarity. Once it flows, even a small push creates massive movement. That's how people seem unstoppable. They just never stop moving. Crystal Ball Chapter 14. Becoming the person you once admired. There's someone you've always looked up to. A version of yourself who's calm, confident, and disciplined. What if I told you, that person isn't far away? They're already inside you, waiting for your consistency to set them free. Every small win chips away at the shell of fear and doubt. Beneath it, your higher self is waiting, strong, peaceful, radiant. You don't become that person one day. You uncover them, layer by layer. You are not chasing transformation. You are returning to who you were meant to be. The person you admire is already you in progress. Sunrise Chapter 15. The Final Awakening. And then one day, everything becomes clear. You'll realize that the small wins were never small. Each act of patience, each quiet morning, each choice to rise again, was rewriting your destiny in silence. You'll feel a calm power, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything. You'll smile, because you know you've become your own hero. You'll understand that success was never about perfection. It was about persistence, purpose, and peace. Now you walk not with hurry, but with harmony. You no longer chase greatness, you radiate it. Every sunrise, every deep breath, every small step. It all mattered. The hidden power of small wins was never hidden after all. It was you. Glowing star.